Hi there, YouTube. If you want to learn how to make high-stakes independent films with the gear you already have in your pocket, you're in the right place. Be sure to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the craft of directing. So today, I'm revisiting a film I directed that still scares me a little, La Niña Que Sonrió, or The Girl Who Smiled. This project was based on the true stories of women crossing the US-Mexico border that I interviewed, and I dedicate it para las mujeres que luchan, for the women who fight. So what's next up is a raw director's commentary. I'll be pausing and slowing down specific frames throughout the commentary to really break down the blocking and the technical choices we made on set and how we are able to shoot this entirely on iPhone 7 Pluses in the Joshua Tree Desert using gimbals and grit to tell a story that I hope feels as urgent today as it did back in 2019. So let's watch it. Based on the true stories of women crossing the US-Mexico border. And it was. I talked to a lot of them. I love these titles. I love these titles as she just runs through them and then they just fall away to just reveal the border. This is something that I worked really hard on to learn how to do. Basically, the middle of the film is what you see right in the very beginning. And my goal here too was to really have it so that view this movie in English or in Spanish and you would never not know what's going on. So here we have our two actors. I love these girls. Oh, we have Marilyn Rodriguez and Emily Trujillo. Cast them through Actors Access. They were really so fun to work with and so lovely and, you know, just gave me so much. And I really appreciated the feedback that I got all the way through. Like, it really felt like a good collaborative team, and I felt really, really lucky to have the team that I had. And so this was all shot in Joshua Tree, or just outside of Joshua Tree. This is the only part of the film that doesn't have subtitles. And what she's talking about is snakes, like huge snakes, culebras. So the music that you're hearing is from Jonathan Cyberlock. I know Jonathan for almost 15 years now. He is a professional tuba player, an amazingly talented musician. I asked him to do the music for this. I really wanted to work with him, so, you know, he was included all along the way. So we shot this completely on an iPhone 7 Plus. We had two iPhone 7 Pluses, two gimbals. We had an Osmo Mobile and a Zhiyun Smooth 5. We shot a lot of this on gimbals, a lot of this on sticks, but all of this is shot on an iPhone 7 Plus. Same camera that I used to shoot Born a Snake on. Kind of my workhorse for a long time until I really got deeper into cinema cameras. But you can't beat it. I mean, it looks great. Color here was done by Sirtaj Banghu. He did all of the color here, like really tried to work with how horrible of a log file I probably gave him. You can hear the guitar here. Again, that's from Jonathan Cyberlock. So you have Erenderia, who is played by Emily on the left-hand side, and you have Faustina, who is played by Marilyn Rodriguez on the right-hand side. And we have them framed with lots of distance between and a lot of like rocky things in between them. And you can see here in this moment, she's saying, "I am not a crybaby." It's been a little rocky. We want to see that like they grow closer as the film progresses. Give some deep focus. And so on this other shot that we're lower, and again, we've got them in a 2, and there's this wide gap of space in between them. So I'm really framing them far away. I'm not trying to make them feel like they're close. If I had moved the camera back and to the side a little bit more over Emily's shoulder, but I would have made them feel closer, but it wouldn't have been the shot that really communicated where they were in their relationship here. Sirtaj did a great job with these blues and these greens and her pink backpack. So yeah, we end there on that frame. They are together. They are now further over onto the side of the frame, and you have this space that they've left behind. So they're now together on this journey. So we open up a little bit later on. They're walking. This is another big wide. I really kind of loved sharing the landscape so that the audience really got a feel of scale. And now we're from behind on Faustina. This was again on a gimbal iPhone for you camera nerds that want to know things. So this scene is here to establish the doll. The doll is our MacGuffin in a way, if you will. And we want to establish that this is something that is precious to Faustina. And so the idea was that along the way, she's torn the bottom of her backpack. The doll fell out, and it's not evident until something else falls out and Erenderia catches it and sees it. Oh man, I'm so glad that worked. It popped out so naturally, and she was trying not to rattle it too much. It looks very natural, and I'm really glad that that worked, because we tried for like 30 minutes to get that thing working, but we finally got it, and it looks great. Marilyn's panic here is good. It's so real. I really wanted to make them feel like they had gone further, and so doing that to a pan down allowed me to make it feel as if it were a little further, because otherwise it felt like too short and too immediate. So that's another good thing to think about for blocking too, is that we basically went and did a reverse shot, but the reverse shot then panned down to reveal the precious object that Faustina needed to get. Doing that, it also gave it a sense of distance between these 2 points. That sometimes is a tricky thing to do, and I really appreciate the thoughtfulness that we put into it. Okay, this was so cool. All right, so the car scene here, this car shot. We found this IROC, this Trans Am, just in the middle of the desert in Joshua Tree as it was. And this was shot actually early morning. So for you VFX and compositing folks, you'll notice day for night shot taken in the very early morning. You can probably even still hear the birds as they're waking up, and we were fighting against it. Those stars are composited in, it's actually a much brighter sky. It was pretty fun to find this car and just be able to use it. There's some cuts here that I don't love, but that's because I didn't really do myself many favors. I personally would have brought this down and framed them a little better. They're in the middle of the frame, but their eyeline is in the middle of the frame, and it just feels weird. I feel like I could have done a much better job in framing here, making them feel the emotion of them just occupying the frame. How you fill up the frame with your actors or with your characters is going to communicate emotionality to the audience. So I feel like I could have done a better job with this particular framing. I always love that. It's a good line. I wrote a good line. I tried really hard, but I don't know if I did a good job at writing characters that speak Spanish. I tried to help the actors get to real performances. Yeah, you can hear the birds in the background a little bit, but you know, it's a good scene. It's a good scene. This music here is great. I really love the theme of it. I love the intention of this scene. I love how intentional they both are with their choices. And I love how they're just trying to be 2 friends, especially Erenderia's character. She's trying to be Faustina's friend. So now we see the doll. The doll will be the thing that travels with us through the story. Marilyn would follow up a smile with this like pained look of like, oh, we're fucked. So again, this is the composite shot right there. You can see the stars. You can see the outlines of the trees. Tried really hard to make it feel like we were going from evening to like dark. And good job to my first AD and my VFX artist on this, Derek Ligas. Derek was, I couldn't have made that shot happen without Derek. Derek was instrumental. He really knocked it out of the park, and he was also a great first AD. And I wouldn't have been able to make this movie without him. Thank your first ADs. Love your first ADs. If they're good first ADs, they'll love you. So we went through this montage because I really wanted to think of like days passing. I love this shot so much. It's probably my favorite shot of the entire film. I love their silhouettes against the sunrise. It's so great. It's just striking to me what the silhouette does against the sky. And so these montages here are to show the passing of time, to explain that there's been distance traveled, day, the night, and day again. So here they are, sleeping behind bushes. In between them, there's a noise. I love this shot. Marilyn's performance here is great, and we were able to get a deep enough focus to get the car in the background and really try to establish it, because we were going to have to bring it back later. So I told the actors not to shower for like a couple of days. I needed their hair to look messy and gross, like they've been into the desert for a while. They could not look too clean. Yeah, her hair looks matted and clumpy. It looks great. So forceful with it. Shh. It's really Faustina's scene. Faustina sets the tone, tells her to be quiet, and just goes and does. And it works. My regret here is that I didn't have Erenderia say anything. The scene works without it, but truly I think that it would have been even better if I had given her a line here. Also, you may not notice, Matthew Lucchesi did sound for this. Thank you, Matthew. Amazing Matthew Lucchesi. And that's his sound cart in the background that he dragged all the way through the desert in Joshua Tree. Good times. This shot of her walking off. I love, again, establishing these deep focused subjects. So here we come to in the introduction of the young man played by Brandol Ruiz. I needed to cast somebody who was very handsome and charming, very disarming, right? I needed somebody that was disarming. He's got the shovel and he sees Faustina come up and Faustina stops in front of him. I needed to make sure that however I was blocking it and how I was shooting it created tension, right? We really have to think about tension in these scenes and how we're building it and how we're relieving it too. So she approaches him here and comes up and then comes to a bit of a stop. Brandol looks up, stops what he's doing, hear a little bit of the music. So she covers up here, which I really love the choice. I think the choice is smart, communicating that you feel his eyes on you. Smart actor, very smart actor. I gave them a little bit of, as my teacher Joni Varner would say, the Warner Brothers haircut, like cut off the top of her a little bit just to make it feel like she has no choice. She's kind of locked in because everything that's behind her. So we blocked this scene so that we could see everything as clearly as possible. We did cut off the front of the car a little bit, but I don't mind that, actually. Wanted to get a full, good picture of just how remote this was. And so her coming up to him was kind of completely out of the blue. You never saw her coming. The ratcheting of the music is so fun. So I love this line, the way he delivers it. You look like my sister whenever she gets in trouble. This gets a smile from Faustina, and that relieves that tension just enough for her to think, okay, I can go with this guy. It's a bad idea. I love the acting here from Marilyn on that. Her reactions are great. She's just such a smart actor in this, and really, really like strong. I didn't have as clear of an idea on who Faustina was until I started working with her on it, and talking to and working with Marilyn really helped develop Faustina for me. I really understood Faustina more and more as I got to know Marilyn. That's one of the wonderful things about directing is you get to learn more about these characters you've created in a way that whenever you're just writing, they're just living in your head, but whenever you get a chance to really give that over to an actor and they inhabit that and bring that character to life, you start to find all kinds of new things that really help shape the way that you want to shape their performance or shape the staging or the blocking. Really, it's more of that. The actor informs you of what it is that they think the character is about. And because of that, that informs how you see the blocking. The way he says benga here, it's great. Brandol, you did a great job. Great job, Brandol. So she waits for the car door to close. We cut away as soon as the car closed and went back to Erenderia. This house in the background was actually our staging house. This was where we did all of our staging for equipment and stuff like that. And I put up lights and covered them with pink gels, these color palettes of pinks, blues, and greens. I really wanted to use pink as almost a color that was a theme throughout the whole film. Originally, I wanted to have in the background a narco corrido, right? I really like a Chalino Sanchez or something like that. And ultimately, it was just too expensive to get the rights to. So here we shot this at night. This was getting pretty heavy at night again. iPhone 7 Plus shooting this. And she heads in towards the first sign of civilization. Score here feels ratchety and tense. I don't know how he achieved that ratcheting kind of sound, but it's so fun. So this, shot on a gimbal, came through. You see that pink light I mentioned. Comes around here. Close-up insert of the doll. Establish a doll, we punch in, get to here, and then we show her in this blue light holding the doll. And so we got her up, and then we cross in front of this other window. She sees Faustina there and sees her bloodied and bruised and beaten and clearly sexually assaulted, and everything flashes in front. The good times, all of it flashes. And so she has this quick montage of memory to see. Props to Kat Elrod, who did the makeup for this. Kat Elrod, amazing special effects artist, amazing theater maker. Kat Elrod is your person. She did a great job here with Faustina's special effects makeup. I felt really bad. It's very early on, still in my learning process. Their first day was a little bit crazy, and so we put her in the special effects makeup, and she kind of sat there for a moment. I was still really learning how to time things out well when people needed to arrive, when to schedule actors who have makeup and special effects, and I just did it too early. Shot this, put the pink light on. Really, truly, Marilyn did such a great job here. And so I did this montage. The voices you hear in the background, the men's voices, were 4 guys that I got off of Actors Access. They were also cool. They came to my house and we recorded them hanging around and saying the raunchiest stuff they could. They felt really embarrassed. It was really adorable. And used that as the walla in the background, their voices in the background. Erenderia has the realization, she's in shock, she backs up, she turns, realizes that that's the same person, this person has done that to Faustina. The light comes on, she runs, knocks over the trash, we have the bottle sounds, and then gunshots, and then men yelling after her, and then we go to black. And it was a really intense day of shooting for that scene because of the special effects, because of the timing. I believe that Daniel Molina was there for that day to help shoot it. I felt very, very lucky to have Daniel back because he helped me shoot Born a Snake. I think he was only available for 1 day, but it was just great to have his blessing on it. So this sequence is probably one of my favorite sequences in the film. I think that it is perhaps one of the most complete. It's just got a great rhythm to it. So we start off here with her alone, gray and even overcast day, and she's in the thick of the brush of the border. A little bit of tambourine and then a pop sound. And then we see Border Patrol agent. And this is in 2019. Very different experience with Border Patrol than we have now in 2026. And we see Patrick J. Nicholas here. He plays one of our Border Patrol agents. I shot this from up high. I tried as closely as possible to get a realistic binocular mask around it, like that. I don't know if I did a great job of doing it, but I really tried. This is our second Border Patrol agent. Ryan was great. Really, really smart actor. And Patrick is no slouch either. Patrick's been great too. Really proud of these two for where they've gone in their careers. The subtitles are in Spanish. That way, if somebody is not an English speaker, they know exactly what's being said. There's never any confusion as to what anybody's lines are, making sure that this was effectively communicated to speakers of both languages. This was our first day of shooting. Shot on a Zune Smooth 4 and a Osmo Mobile. So the way we did this, actually Shelly Ray, who was a classmate of mine at LACC, we gave her one phone, one of the 7 Pluses, and put her on the Zune Smooth 4. And I think that she ran after Emily, who played Erenderia, and I was on the Osmo Mobile, which had my iPhone, and I was chasing after Ryan, and then I was chasing after Patrick, who was the first Border Patrol officer. And so you'll notice that the Zune Smooth 4 that follows Emily, or Erenderia, is a little less jumpy than the Osmo Mobile, but we were learning a lot about what a gimbal could do and versus couldn't. And so you get this like shaky cam kind of feel from this sequence that I kind of love. It doesn't feel out of place. It's an editing nightmare at good times. So we're chasing him there. Now we're sideways with Erenderia. So this is Shelly and running after. Shelly, I think, also caught that footage. We are back up at the top on Patrick's character and steps off. Now we're static, following through Erenderia, and then had Ryan run right after that on a good timing. And here we are back at the very first shot of the film. Man, I'll tell you, it took a few tries to get it so that as soon as she was leaving frame, he was coming right in. Like, that took a lot of tries. We got it, and I think that was on day one of shooting. You know, we did a lot of running on day one, which might be the smart thing to think about too, is that if you have a lot of the action stuff, get it over on day one so that you're not wearing out your actors and then expecting them to do something heavy on the end of the day. And so now we're back to a shot with Patrick running, and we get him going across the same. So this is on the Zune Smooth 4. This is on the Osmo Mobile. And you can see a little bit of the camera shake here. Oh, and here's an editing trick right there. Okay, right as she is being picked up, she goes and she flings her head back and it looks like it hits him. And we did an editing trick there. We took out a couple of frames before the hit so that it made the hit more immediate. And we do that again whenever she kicks him in the face too. So you'll see that. But this is a little editing trick that I actually picked up from the movie Braveheart. If you go and you watch Braveheart, whenever they're in battle scenes, they cut out a frame or two or three even before the hit actually happens to make the blow feel more immediate. It's a really wonderful editing trick. Cutting out right there, boom. That nice little kick sound, she runs. This is on the Osmo Mobile. We slim down here, come back up to pick him up, and grabs, boom. Zip ties, then we go back to the overhead and pulls her out, and his foot's out of frame, and we come to a black. I chose black also because I wanted really clearly episodic, I guess. I've wanted this to be clearly episodic to like make you feel like you're left on a cliffhanger before you come into the next thing. It was a really interesting experiment in doing it that way, of like going to black in between the scenes. It felt a little traditional, but it also felt like you sat with the last thing you saw for just enough time before you moved on to the next scene. And I really loved that feeling. So here we are in the back of their car. We've got Emily in the back seat, Patrick and Ryan in the front. He hands her a water. I really love actually the way this looks. Like, we set the camera up kind of fun. We see Ryan's face all beat up and bruised, and that was great work done by Elrod. I love the way that this is colored to make things pop, almost like a Technicolor feel at times, but gritty. Feels like a gritty Technicolor. I might just be making shit up. So here he offers her candies. It's dulce, candy. And this takes us back to whenever Faustina asked if she had any candy left, and Erenderia said, no, we're all out of it. And here he is, this man is offering her candy, and she thinks about her friend Faustina, and she has to tell him. That reverse shot is a little short. I probably should have extended it out just a little bit. Feels a little short to cut from that to this, but it works. It's a little clumsy. I do love ending on him. And then it's quick to black and then quick to the Abogado named Diana Guerrero, who is actually a real person. Always loved her name, which was played by Viviana Sarade, who is amazing in this. So great, so cool. A profile side by side. I wanted to really show again the distance between them. And then we reverse out, and now we are on Erenderia, back over the shoulder to Diana, and how far Diana has to go to reach Erenderia. And so this is where we see, for me, one of the biggest continuity issues of the film, and that is Erenderia's nails. They do not look like what she had whenever she was in the desert, and I didn't realize it until we were in the edit, and I saw her nails, and I was like, ah, okay. Whenever you are your costumer and wardrobe, you have to think about all these things, including, does my actor's nails match what they had on the last day that we saw them? Everything else matched, nails didn't, and I will kick myself forever about that. So here we have a reintroduction of the doll. I went to an overhead shot here. I wanted to make sure that the audience saw that this was that doll, to remember the power of the doll and her eyes. And she has this great tear that she drops during this dialogue, and she's just so good. Jonathan Cyberlock's music coming back in here. And so you notice that the background here is, you know, that eggshell white, yellow, and then she finds out she's alive, and then this pink starts to wash over and get deeper. I cut her off a little bit, but I really wanted the audience to focus in, and that's the end of the film. Right, yeah, I wrote and directed this. Wow, what a way of seeing it. Yeah, Emily Trujillo, Marilyn Rodriguez, Brandon Ruiz, Viviana Sarade, Mike, played by Patrick J. Nicholas, James, played by Ryan Bertrocci. Both great actors. Everybody did great. Camera here, mainly us three, Jan David Sutar, myself. No camera, Shelly Ray, again, helped us out on that one day with the racing scenes. It was great. It was really, really helpful. Daniel Molina adding his talents to the mix. And then me, myself, and I really tried to work hard on what I wanted to achieve in the frame. I was trying to really make something mature on a very sensitive subject. And I might have succeeded. I might not have. But I really tried. I really tried. We had, I think, a table read and a day of rehearsals before we shot this. So Abby Corbett helped me out editing this. She was great. So my wife also helped produce this. She's been one of my biggest supporters ever. So thank you. I love you. First AD, Derek Ligas. Location sound, Matthew Lucchesi. We also had Zane Johnson. Zane is another amazing filmmaker. I was an actor in his feature film called Queen of the Angels, and he knows, you know, me for years, and really just been a great supporter of mine. I really feel lucky to have Zane in my corner. Gil Garcia, also an LACC alum. Gil's great. I love Gil to death. He's so great to have on set. I love him. Anytime I can have Gil on set, I would make sure that he's there. I love Gil. He's great. So color was Sirtaj Banghu. Sirtaj did a great job. I mean, I did not give him the cleanest output files. Like, I really was still learning about formats and how to, like, you know, what format to record in, what format not to record in. I think I shot this in log V2, and I thought that that would be the most helpful. If I remember correctly. It was really interesting trying to learn how to do that. Sound design, Anna Cassidy. Anna Cassidy has been one of my very, very best friends. She was, earlier we saw her in Born a Snake. She was one of the people in, she was more background in Born a Snake. She did great sound design on this. She's a great editor too. Hire her. Anna Cassidy Lee, amazing. Music done by Jonathan Saberlich. Jonathan is just such a talent, and I hope to work with him again soon. We've had a couple of opportunities that just haven't kind of manifested themselves completely, but really truly love Jonathan. Great dude. Really lucky to know him. Just did amazing work on this. PAs, where would I be without a PA? That was Ko Chambliss, who is an amazing writer. Ko's so cool, also LACC alum. My assistant director was Nelly Morales. Nelly is responsible for getting that doll. I think that her mom found the backpacks and the doll while we were perusing. I think they came from Olivera Street in downtown LA. But really, thank you to Nelly. Nelly was great. I really appreciated her help in this because she was so cool and so instrumental in finding the props that really took us on the journey and made us understand the stakes. Appreciate you, Nelly. Really, thank you so much. Great job. Great job. Zane Johnson again, gaffing and being a second AC on a different day. Zane's just so cool. Catering was Cole Parker. Cole is an old friend. I think that he brought us lunch one day, and so decided to put him in for catering. So special thanks to Madi Schulman, who was the owner of the house that we were using. Really appreciated him for letting us use it for free. Also, thank you out to Filmic Pro. We used the Filmic Pro to shoot this. DJI. Thanked Moment Lenses, but we never actually got a chance to use them. They didn't arrive by the time I got them, so thank you, because you gave them to us. Thanks to Sennheiser, because they provided me with some microphones. Adobe was what we edited on in Premiere. Joni Varner, who gave me the grade for this film. This was a student film, and she gave me a grade, and I got an A on it. See? I'm a good student. I got an A. Yeah, thank you to everybody that helped me out. I'll tell you what, like, really, truly, LACC, I've said their praises again, but they were great to us. They really helped out. And here at the end, the last word you see, para las mujeres que luchan, for the women who fight. I grew up in a family that fought for things that were true and right, and my mom was a fighter through and through for what she felt was justice. And I feel like this was a film that my mom would have appreciated. It would have probably enraged her that it even needed to be made, but this is a film that she would have appreciated. And so for me, it just made sense to dedicate this to the women who fight. You know, all of those great women who have worked hard to bring them and their families a better life. And I just appreciate that so much. It's my heart. And Jonathan Seriberlich's music takes us out. Wow. Watching that back, there are 3 major takeaways I want to leave you with that you can apply to your next project, no matter your budget. 1, embrace your constraints. We didn't have a cinema camera. We had an iPhone 7 Plus. And because we couldn't rely on expensive glass, we really had to rely on blocking and framing to communicate emotion. We used distance and deep focus to show the rocky relationship between our leads before the desert forced them together. 2, listen to your actors. As a director, your script is just the starting point. Working with Marilyn Rodriguez really taught me who Faustina really was. Her choices, like that small smile that relieved tension with a young man, informed how I staged the rest of the scene. Number 3, the power of the MacGuffin. Never underestimate a prop. We spent 30 minutes in the sun just trying to get that doll to fall out of the backpack naturally. Now, it seems small, but establishing that precious object early on is what built the emotional stakes for the entire film. Independent filmmaking is about happy accidents. Like the sunrise that was pink that we used a day for night sequence because we couldn't edit it out. You just have to lean into it. Well, thanks again for joining me on this look back at La Niña Que Sonrió. If you have questions about filmmaking or staging, please drop them in the comments, and I'll see you at the next one.